My micro jigging attempt ended pretty poorly. I got the back of my rod caught on a rock behind me and snapped the bastard. So I went back to the car and grabbed my other rod and thought I'd collect some bait. My brother was going on a trip up to near Carnarvon, so I said to him I'd get some bait for him to salt up because he wasn't going to go there with any refrigeration. I was just building up with literally a loaf of bread. I could see the herring smashing it on top. I initially thought I was going to try and get some mullet because I saw a school going past, but the herring were pretty thick. I'm just literally casting into the burley trail. You can see him sucking the bits of bread off the surface of the water. I'm just using my lightest rod, 1 to 3 kilo, and I've got 4-pound braid, and I've got the drag pretty loose as well. The leader I'm running is just 8 pound. I've probably got about a rod and a half length. I've connected the braid to the leader with a uni knot, no swivel needed. I'm just casting out into the trail of bread. I'm throwing a bit more bread in as burley, probably every 2 to 3 fish. I didn't even really bother casting until I saw the herring smashing the bread on the surface. Once they were sort of fired up, then they were pretty much on every single cast. So I'm just chucking out a little bit more of burley here. So I'm mainly using the crust for burley because the crusts are harder to keep on the hook. They were so thick they started hitting the little sinker without any bait. So all I've got here is a size 6 Gamakatsu circle hook, and I've got 2 size 0 ball sinkers on. So I'm only able to cast probably about 10-15 metres in front of me, but that's all I need. Here I'm just flicking it out without any bait, and the herring is smacking it right at the rocks. So again here I'm just casting out without any bait, just retrieving it with a little flick here and there. I wasted a lot of time trying to catch him without any bait, but it was a bit of fun. Finally, on, no bait. So after wasting a bit of time there, I'm back onto the bait to try and bag out. So I've just got the bread and I just squeeze it onto the hook as best as I can. Soft white bread's usually pretty good. I'm using brown today because that's all I had in the cupboard. With using the bait, I was able to bag out pretty quickly. Because it's bread on your hook, you just gotta make sure your cast is nice and soft. So that's where using the light 4-pound line is really helpful with this. So at the moment the herring bag limit is still 12. I'm pretty sure they're about to increase it to 20. But at the moment still 12. And that's heaps anyway. The only time I ever really keep 12 if I'm actually going to be using them for bait anyway. When I got home, I put a couple of the bigger ones aside, and then I started filleting for the salting process. So first off, I scaled all the fish if you don't scale them, the scales can go really hard during the salting process. And if you're putting a whole fillet onto your hook and you get a couple of those tough little scales stuck on the end of your 6/0 circle hook and you miss a big hook up, you'd be kicking yourself for not bothering to scale them. I'm not keeping these for bait, so it's nothing too neat. Don't bother taking out the rib bones, just nice fillets. So after filleting the 9 fish, I just put them aside and get the bucket ready for salting. So I start with putting a couple of cans and a bottle down the bottom. That's just making a little bit of space for all the liquid to drip into. So I put a few bits of paper towel underneath there as well. Then I get a couple of bits of alfoil, put it over the top, and keep on pricking holes in it. This is just to allow the water and the moisture to drip down into the area below. Then we get some non-iodized salt, put it on, and start layering up the fillets. So put down a layer, pour a bit more salt on, and then add another layer. I also ended up adding another sort of, I think it was 4 tailor fillets to the bucket a day later as well. So I just kept on layering on top of it. For the other fish, I thought I'd cook them up over some deep beats. So I've got some charcoal going in the little kettle. For the 2 herring, I've gutted and scaled them, and I'm putting cuts right down to the bone. And then I'll just put on a bit of salt and pepper. I've got a basting to go on them when they're on the actual coals. So I stick them straight over the coals, right in the hot area. And then I'm going to baste them. I basically just got a big chunk of butter, put in the microwave for 30-40 seconds, and put 2 crushed cloves of garlic in there. So I baste that a couple of times. I'm cooking it probably about 2.5 minutes each side, maybe a little bit longer. A little bit of a flare up, but it doesn't matter too much. They're not on there forever. So another little basting before I turn them. Yeah. I just kept on basting with that garlic and butter. It was bloody delicious. I didn't waste the coals either. I had a little lamb leg that I smoked up for about 5 hours. Now back to the bucket. This is about 3 days later. You probably only need about a day and a half, but this is when I couldn't be bothered. Again, here I also chucked in some of the tailor fillets, so I started with them. So I just pull them out, just making sure that I don't have bits of salt on the area where it's going to seal for my backpack. You don't have to backpack them, you can just put them in sandwich bags if you want, but if you backpack them, they'll last a little bit longer. These will last in your shed for like a year probably. If you salt them for just 24 hours, it probably lasts a couple of months. Next, I'll bag up all the herring. And let's have a look in the bucket. You can see how much moisture comes out of these fillets. These types of bait are perfect for camping trips, even if it's just to catch fresh bait. But you'll still get tailor or even mulloway and things like that on these baits. Thanks for watching. For more Perth Metro videos, please subscribe. Feel free to ask any questions in the comment section.